angels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I'm your host, Patricia Baker. I am here with PK, my co-host, all the way from Tucson, roasting out there. We're roasting
definitely
in the Berkshires, 90 degrees today, but my goodness, you guys have
hot stuff. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Fry an egg on this concrete.
Ooh, I know. Now, what is the temperature there?
Well, I haven't looked right now, but it was 108. I think it was yesterday.
Wow.
It's a little warm.
Yeah, a little toasty.
You don't want to touch anything. They're getting slippers for animals here.
They should.
Dogs, because their little tootsies are getting cold, right? Getting hot because of the concrete. And it was funny watching some of them showing their animals with the shoes on. God love them. So, some of them look so cute and dainty, and others look like they're wearing hobnail boots and plodding along.
Oh, goodness.
Poor things.
But it is, bring up a very important point. It is important to protect their paws because that concrete,
definitely.
You can fry an egg on it. Think about it. What would it feel like for us to walk barefoot, let alone a dog or a cat? It's terrible.
We wouldn't, but we let them do it, which is not too bright.
No, that isn't bright at all.
No. But I've been taking a look at, the month of June is ruled by Mercury, and that's a planet that's associated with communications of all times, but it's also short trip travel. And you think school's just getting out, people are doing different things. So a quick getaway sometimes is better than a long vacation, because long vacations, many times you come home not talking to one another. But it is a month of major changes. You don't find things are going to go from good to bad, bad to good, that kind of thing. But It's a good time to be spiritual. And usually you want to spend time with people who are younger or who act younger when the 5 is around. It just makes you feel good. So why not make arrangements to do something with this short travel and making arrangements to do it with somebody that's younger, that would be more uplifting to some of the things you'd like to do, not some of the things you think you have to do.
Oh, I like
that. Run away, play, and enjoy.
Good.
There's enough rough stuff coming up in the future, as we well know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. But that's good. So we can go play at the beach, take a couple of days off here and there, not work so hard.
Well, the nice thing about when you do think of short trip travel, it's like I'm in Tucson. A trip up to Phoenix is like going to another world. Of course, it's hotter than Tucson is. God forbid. I hadn't planned on going there, but it's just getting away. It could be just a town next to you. See something different. Do something different.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Me too. Where are we going?
Let's just pick a place and go.
Okay. Let's go to Sedona.
Oh, do you know, I would love to go there. I haven't been there since I went to a resort that opened called Miamo, which has been there now a while. And they just had a huge renovation there.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to go to Miamo again.
Maybe come fall you could escape and we could do something there.
Would really like to escape. Yes,
that would be fun.
I would like it. Okay. Well, we're going to have to make it happen. We'll have to manifest it with all the great manifestors that come on the show and tell us how to do that. Why not?
Good idea.
That's right.
That's the next question for the next manifester.
Yeah. How do we manifest this? Show us now or get off.
I like that idea. You want to see two grown women cry? Tell us it won't happen.
Right.
Ay.
Well, tonight we have a wonderful guest that we've had on before. Left at Eastgate. Remember, he wrote that book, and it was a great book. He is a whistleblower, and he is an important whistleblower. Now, I met Larry many years ago when I met Betty and Bob, Betty, Andreas, and Luca, and Bob Luca. And I'm hoping Bob will call in tonight to talk with all of us. And there's Larry. He now lives in England, in Liverpool. And he's joining us tonight, staying up late just for us. But let me tell you a little bit about Larry. I've got it right here. Now, he is known for his involvement as a whistleblower in the Rendlesham Forest incident. And he published the book called Left at East Gate. Now, he was taken from his guard post, okay? And he had to investigate the strange lights in a forest clearing near the base. Now, this whole experience changed Larry's life. Tremendous amount of controversy here, and it just changed the whole trajectory for Larry. So we had to bring him back onto the show to find out, because he knows of everybody. He knows a lot about what happened that night. We want to hear it. You know, all these other, as Larry called them, Hollywood UFO people.
And there are a few of those out there.
Oh, they've come out from the woodwork. I don't know. But Larry is the real deal. He is the whistleblower for Rendlesham. So Larry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Patricia and PK. And I wish I looked like that picture you had on before.
Oh,
but
you do.
Yeah, okay, maybe manifest more hair on me these days. I don't know. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here, and
it's our pleasure.
I'm glad it's not as hot as here as it is in Phoenix, because I was telling you ladies before, it's like October, and maybe you'd like that. I don't know.
Sounds heavenly.
Oh, I couldn't take those nine. My sister's house in New York is, it's 90 today, and the grandkids are all in the pool and that kind of thing. I couldn't live in that. I couldn't survive it now. I've been over here too long. 25 years.
If it just
that's a long time.
Oh my goodness. We have Susan joining us today, and she says, sounds super interesting. You're going to love this show, Susan. I'm telling you, because Larry's
definitely.
So Larry, fill the audience in on what was going on. You're in the military, the United States military, but tell us about that night. It was so shocking, I would imagine.
I'll give you a brief overview, and because it doesn't just involve me. Obviously, it involves me. Whoops, that was my fault. The aliens pushed my phone over. I'm sticking to that.
They're looking for you yet.
There's not an earthquake. I knew something would happen. I'm no good on this modern stuff, and never will be.
Excellent. Come on. You keep entertaining us this way.
That's right.
Well, you'll have a laugh if anything else, But I was in the United States Air Force, security forces. They're called now as security specialist, which was combatant. I went through training in Texas and San Antonio, Lackland Air Base. I went through all that. Some of the people I was never in the Air Force, all the things they do to real ones like me. I'm a little more confident now in everything, because there's been a process over the last 6 years. Believe it or not, this late in life, 6 years, I've learned so much that the general public soon enough will learn. Some won't like it, but I had nothing to do with it. But, and I got stationed in England. I wanted to. I went to school here in Essex in high school as an exchange student. Not that I was a rocket scientist. My mother came up with like $500 to my school. My high school did a trip here, and I was hooked, And so I ended up in the Air Force, because it wasn't long after Saigon fell when I joined in '79. I went in the Air Force. I see those dates wrong always. And it was what motivated me was the Iranian takeover of our embassy in Tehran, with the Revolutionary Guard.
Right.
And that really pissed me off, I got to tell you. And I wasn't college minded at that point. Eventually I went to, higher education for all the good it did, and broadcasting and all that kind of training. But at this point, I got my recruiter told me, it must be true, the last guaranteed country of choice. And I picked the UK, and I got RAF Bentwaters. Then I went through security forces training in San Antonio, and also on an Army base, Fort Sam Houston. It was combatant. You know, the Air Force isn't known for its combatants. My units were formed in Vietnam as the Tet Offensive to base defend. Otherwise, you were waiting for the Army to come in and help you out. And so the Air Force got smart. Instead of the Air Police, they split a unit off, and we became active combatants. So, you know, thank God I was never in a war. But it was not a popular time to go in the service. So I dragged two friends of mine into the Air Force on the buddy system, and one has passed away. Steve, unfortunately, lovely guy. And Jeff went to Guam. Steve went to, I don't know where he went. And but I got, you know, I went home on leave and then came here. And I was here on December 1st, 1980. I was already security cleared to work around nuclear weapons. We had nuclear weapons on RAF Bentwaters and RAF, not Woodbridge, but we had a twin base complex. We had A-10 tank killers, and we were frontline NATO defense. We were first strike option for Russia. You know, if the kids or younger people watching, you know, we were really close back then, maybe like we are now again, to full scale. Well, the end game, wouldn't it be? DEFCON 4 and all that kind of thing. So that was our job, to protect assets and retake bases. That was what we did theoretically. We trained to do it. I was here on shift. I started on the 15th. I was assigned to what I thought was D flight. It was actually C. Lots of, like I said, I've learned a lot, believe it or not, a lot more than I ever knew in the last 6 years, because a lot of people have come forward. And that rightly so, frankly, if you look at what's happened to me with certain entities on the social media and co-authors and things like that. And wrongly, not, I wouldn't want it to happen to other people, put it that way. Very protective of witnesses, any witness, real, authentic abductees. I hate the word. You know, people have even seen these things get laughed at. And,
it's horrible.
It's what happens. You know, your families even fall apart over this. And, you know, I've had the issue. I was very lucky with mine, but what happened is I was there. But first week I rode along with law enforcement on the base, and you just get familiar. You're in classroom for 2 weeks, you know, to base familiarity. Some people's clearance. Mine came in on the 15th, so I could work around the nukes we didn't have. The nukes they were on Bentwaters, they were tactical. And though we didn't have delivery system for F-111s or bomb deliverers, they come down from Lake and Heath, pick them up, and fly off to FOLs to fight a tactical nuclear war. If it wouldn't happen, it would just be the end, wouldn't it?
It would.
So yeah, and you know, but we're young. I'm 19, and you know, you don't think of, you know, I was thinking, you know, if I'm off this weekend and going to London to hang out in the clubs and do the 19-year-old thing, you know. And then we did our job. I did my job. We weren't druggies and all. We were checked thoroughly before you were on duty. We had big weapons, you know, M16s and 60s and all that nasty business. And it was kind of dull. You'd guard your active aircraft areas. I never worked in the WSA, weapons storage area, but I knew we had nukes there. You know, it was top secret. It's only been admitted, what I've always said. I lost my passport for saying it back in the 90s. I don't know if people remember that. It took former United States Attorney General Ramsey Clark, who was Attorney General assistant under Jack Kennedy, then Lyndon Johnson, and then he was Richard Nixon's Attorney General, second, different party. And he's the man that got it back. And the reason being is that I spoke about sensitive defense issues in a public forum on foreign soil. My co-author was there when that happened, and I think it was Nottingham before our book ever came out in 97. And what happened, I was pulled off, we were on alert. There had already been 2 nights of UFO activity. I know there's a false narrative at work in the United States, particularly in the last 10 years. Might work for some people. I'm not going to speak for those people. You see it depicted a lot in these television shows. When in reality, I have more witnesses that were with me than anyone. But a lot of people don't know that yet. but it's not about who did what when. I have to live with what happened to me and the people I was next to. And, I don't know what it was, but we were called out in the woods. There was a lot of activity. They were bringing, I was in a vehicle and they pull light alls out there, and they're big aircraft light up 2 spotlights on a generator. We got out in the woods. We met a whole lot of vehicles. A lot of people were being pulled off duty. This is the 3rd night of the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident. And we went into the woods. We didn't know the name of Rendlesham Forest. It was just the woods. The woods were, the forest was Forestry Commission land and separated our 2 air bases, which were all under the umbrella of the 81st Tactical Fighter Wing of the United States Air Force. They were known as RAF bases because they were, but we leased them since the war. Our base, Woodbridge, was a B-20, the bombers at the time, was a crash recovery base after bombing missions in Germany. A lot of ghost stories on that place.
Oh,
and Bentwaters, Bentwaters was the site of the famous 1956 UFO overflight and chase. It's regarded as one of the best documented aerial military jet encounters with an unidentified object in history, and it's there. Sadly, I'm just trying to get to close that in a nutshell. We turned left in the woods. That's the title of my defunct book. I pulled it, by the way. I was a kid when I wrote it, wasn't I? And but it's all true. There it is, and that's the 2nd edition. And it's not in print right now. I might do an audio thing. Who knows if I live long enough? But we got out into the forest and had no idea about the 2 previous nights of activity. I had till recently thought I'd been in Germany for that. It was actually, I was there the weekend before. See, a lot of people have come forward in the last years and corrected me even. Your memory can be wrong. And so I was there and didn't even know that these events had taken place with John Burroughs, Jim Peniston, Ed Cabanasak, that never gets mentioned. He's always kept out of the narrative. I trained with Ed. We arrived there the same day on that base. And they always say I wasn't there long enough to be working. Well, how come the other guys were? And we were there at the same time. But enough of that garbage. It's only designed to distract and keep people away from these very vital and important incidents, not only to Great Britain, but the United States.
Well, and anything that happens on a military base.
Oh, yeah.
That is really critical information. And they did
a nuclear base.
Yeah, exactly. A nuclear base. Yeah. But yet they did so much to try to cover it up and to try to make all you guys look bad. And then people were recounting their stories. It was horrible.
Definitely.
Yeah. And there's been an effort to turn all the witnesses against each other. I have to say, Charles Holt, our deputy base commander, and listen, I remember him back then. He was quite respected by the security police. I thought he was a nice guy. He has become so volatile, and he's in his 80s now. And I was raised to respect elders. I really was. And my son is the same. It's just in you, But I'll tell you, it does push my wick sometimes, especially when people, you see, I always say to people, whatever you think of me, and I'm no saint, believe me, but down the, I'm just slow at it nowadays. But when these small groups of people with agendas in this subject, I can only speak for this subject, and I imagine you'll find it in the Bigfoot world. And I loved your graphic of you 2 girls in the car. It looked like you ran Bigfoot over.
Don't tell it wasn't us.
Past us. Yeah.
Well, my detractors hate this, but I saw Bigfoot in New York State with my mother in 75. But yeah, broad daylight. It was there and it didn't care. And every other car on the New York freeway saw it.
How exciting.
It was. And it was like a giant reddish brown Native American who was 10 feet tall next to the Seneca River. And so enough of the Bigfoot, because he wasn't at Rendlesham Forest. But that was in 75. I've never forgotten. It's very brief, but it was nothing other than a Bigfoot.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that. And so when all these people make fun, the blur, I always say, listen, I find their comebacks very tiresome. like UFO jokes and the Bigfoot jokes. And I just say, this is people really just looking to have an easier sleep at night at other people's expense, and always at a great distance. And it's tiresome, really. I've had 43 public years of this. I didn't just fall out of the egg yesterday. And I've seen how the subject treats witnesses, how researchers treat witnesses. There's plenty of good people in the field. Many I knew are deceased now. And, I go back to the days of personally knowing J. Allen Hynek, who was very supportive. I was the only one doing this for whatever damn reason. I think it was about abuse of power really pushed me over the edge.
Oh,
because I was raised that way. I had a mother that didn't stand for it. I never stood for it in high school, and bullies on people and all that good stuff. And,
well, I remember seeing you at some of these conferences, and I remember you speaking out about what had happened to you. And how about Bob Lucas on the line? Can I bring him on?
Well, not that guy.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, bring him on. Come on.
You're talking about all of this, and what people have been through, and certainly Bob and his wife Betty through.
Well, they're personal heroes of mine anyway, and dear friends for over 42 years. And though Betty's still around, I know that.
Yeah. So, Bob, welcome to the show. I know you wanted to say hi to Larry, so please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Larry. It's good to hear your voice, my friend.
It's good to hear your voice, brother. It's been, God, we go back so long. And always, without Bob, and I've said this, and Betty, Rendlesham wouldn't have come out. It was pure fate. These were the first, I told a school friend one time, and just after I got home. But then late 82, there was an article in the Hartford Courant newspaper. I just had a wisdom tooth pulled out. And there was a copy of the Hartford Courant, giant newspaper at that time, in Connecticut. And there was an article about Bob and Betty, and it showed one of the paper mache beings or creatures, I don't remember. And it listed it shouldn't have, it listed where Bob worked, and it was Middletown Toyota. And I said, well, these people are crazy, I swear. And I ran to the phone, and the old dial phone, and called Bob. I said, is there Bob Luca there? And he goes, yeah, guy got him. And I go, listen, something happened to me. I got to talk to someone. I live in Southington at the time. Bob was next door in Cheshire, I think you were. And they invited me over, and it was the end for the cover-up of the planned cover-up of the Rendlesham incidents, which was once known as the Bentwaters. And that is down to Robert Luca and Betty Andreas. Not just me. And then Larry fought, but without them, there would have been without Bob, there'd be no halt memo. I didn't know what to do with this stuff. I had no idea, how would you know, especially in 1982, where you'd be tarred and feathered for just mentioning the subject. I don't, now it's maybe a little more open. I get people, it's like anything, it's 40 some odd years. If you had told me I'd be talking about this in 40 years, I didn't think I couldn't see 30. No.
Chanel, can you put that comment back up? I just want to read this to the guys. So we have Woo Riders, and Woo Rider says, I appreciate those who have the courage to keep sharing truth, no matter how much pressure is put against them from high-ranking officials to not share the truth. So there's a thank you from one of our watchers and listeners tonight. So
thank you to them. And Bob does the same thing. We're all in it together, but unfortunately, I just want to say this real quick. I have had less trouble from the powers that be than I have from internet trolls, who are very effective, by the way, in a coordinated thing about 8 years ago, 7. And sadly, some people I had worked with for 30 years and knew that rode my back on this to make names for themselves. So the federal government didn't have to lay a finger on me, though I had some itches with them in the early days, as Bob knows very well. But no, the worst thing, and it's very dangerous to come, especially with the social media. Good Lord, terrible.
Yeah. It can get dangerous. Yeah. So Bob, you've had experiences with Larry. You spoke very highly of him when we were talking today.
Larry, let me tell you something. I've been in this business, if you want to call it that, for over 50 years. When Larry came to us in 82, my impression immediately was this fellow is honest, he's sincere, he's a good guy, and Betty and I did advise him. We said, if you go public with this, your life is going to change, and it's not going to be in a good way. But Larry didn't listen. He wanted to get this out to the public. No, I mean, really, the public needs to know this.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel bad for all that happened to Larry after he did go public.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, they did. I can remember very clear. I think it was Betty that lit, you know, that night with these two nutty folks. I'm sitting in their living room, and I can remember this so clear. Oh, lovely folks, and it was just us talking. You know, and they're older than me. And you know, I'm in my early 20s. You know, I was like in '82. I was 21 years old, right? And I'm 63 in August, so it's. And Bob looks better than me now, so what does that tell you? So I should have listened. But Betty, I remember, because she has a Massachusetts accent like my parents. They're my parents from Boston. And I have a New York one, but more of a Connecticut one. And Betty goes, you know, if you go forward, and Bob's going, yeah, listen. And he goes, you know, it's not going to be nice, and people will turn on you because you just... You know, if it's too in the face, because a lot of people are in this for a hobby or for social interaction, which fair enough. They have not been through it, and if you can't help them, you wouldn't wish it on them, really.
No.
And but it's, you know, I didn't have the what is the word, the finesse I might have with language at this point, and also dealing with the ups and downs, mostly downs a lot of times, and a lot of ups. I've seen the world through this, haven't made any money from it, you know. I mean, if there's money to be made, I've been on the wrong gig, I can tell you. Really, I mean, you know, I think you've got showman Nick Pope, who I see more often than not, and I'll see in court one day, I can assure you. I don't want to get political here, and he knows why. But, you know, it's basically a showman. He rode my backup when he was still he wasn't a T-boy. He worked for the MOD. I won't attack anyone on with making up things, you know. But he attached to the Rendlesham thing, like many others.
Yes.
Like my co-author did. And, you know, lovely guys. And not as lovely as you may wish them to be. My faults are all over the place. I'll even read my book, you know, if you got it. I don't look good in it. You know, Tim Good did a pre-read and he goes, there's some things in there. Are you sure you want to go? Well, my family are going to read it. My friends are going to read it. And people that know me, and they're going to call BS if they, you know, read fluff, you know? And, you know, it's meant to be, it's a human, we only have the human condition. And so Bob and Betty, without them, and, you know, they're dear friends. And, you know, obviously life went on. But they are two of the most original, real people. And people are grateful to have any semblance of the Rendlesham Forest incident as it's known now. You have to thank Bob and Betty, truly. I mean, yeah, I was doing what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. And only because a newspaper article and a papier-mâché alien made me pick up a phone and call this guy at his job. And we had coffee cake, I remember. And one thing I was going to say, girls and Bob, I don't know if you remember, because like myself, we have a lot of strange around us. And I've all my life, I didn't need the Rendlesham thing at all. I'm sure like you ladies, I know like Bob and Betty. And this orb thing, like a pearl-colored ball flew over the coffee table just suddenly. And I'm like, are you seeing this? And Betty goes, oh, the orb, it's always here. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What's in the coffee cake, man? Yeah. And Betty's like, oh, that orb, it's always here. And I'm thinking, you know, she dusts it sometimes. Oh, it's in the way. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? But yeah, and I've had things like that in my life. And oh, it's a wild world, isn't it? The older you get, you go, wow, man, we're never going to know. But Bob, without you guys and dear Betty, who's still here, never really gone, thank you, man. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Larry. And, you know,
hello.
I remember you told us what you experienced. You drew us detailed drawings. And I got to tell you, I think you are one of the most honest and
that picture.
people.
I'm sorry, Bob.
No, that's okay. That is true, and I want people to know that because, to be honest, today in the UFO community, there's more bullshit than reality.
That's right. It
Direct
is.
and to the point, Bob.
Yes, you three, I mean, you and Bob and Betty were the originals. You know, you came out with all of this right on the heels after Betty and Barney Hill. There really wasn't anybody, and then all of a sudden, Betty, Bob, and you three are original, and you know what happened. And then they came after you. They didn't want anybody else to know what happened.
That's true. They would have. They wanted to silence Larry in the beginning.
Well, I saw the helicopters over Bob and Betty's home one time.
Right.
Yeah, they wanted to keep us quiet. They wanted to keep you quiet.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, weren't you also accosted outside of?
Bob and Betty would have helicopters.
Oh, we're losing your sound. Let's see if we can get him back.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
It is kind of a ping pong sound. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's back.
Weren't you also assaulted outside of a bar? You had just left, and didn't you get assaulted from somebody who was wanting to keep you quiet?
Yeah. Well, I came back from Japan in '84. I was there doing this, the Rendlesham thing. Bentwaters then, and I was blessed to go to Japan. It was an education, So, and I came back, and just a few nights later, I was out with my brother in Southington, Connecticut, and someone called me. I was leaving this parking lot, and I went down, and there was a couple vehicles there, and these people just came out of nowhere and just blackjacked me. So I had to learn to talk again. Ran me over, my legs, everything. But I was pretty strong back then. Yeah. And the people I was with didn't know that happened. So a girl dragged me out of the way of the truck, but it tried to come over me. Yeah. I was half dead. Yeah. So I don't know. They never caught them, but it was definitely targeted because, I'd had a few scoops by then, and I went down, and it wasn't like a bar fight thing. It was a targeted thing. And I didn't have enemies to that degree, So that happened, but I don't know if it's, it's 40 years ago also. So it's like, but I had it fractured my skull, everything. Yeah.
Oh, how awful! It's suspicious you never found them because you had witnesses.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Bob knows about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I would say best guess back then, Larry. Tax dollars at work.
Yeah.
How lucky we get, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, do you remember that the Hudson Valley? We went to that high school, you, me, Betty, and Larry Fawcett. And there was like 1,000 people, and Hynek was there, and John, what's his name? The Mothman guy that wrote that book, John, I forget his name, famous. Mothman. All kind of folks were there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this Air Force colonel, this Air Force colonel said to me outside, he was there. He wasn't in uniform. He goes, he was with the Alaskan Air Command. And he goes, son, and this is when this is just coming out. He said, son, saying what you're lucky you're getting a little light on you, because he goes, you got killed for what you're saying. And I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but I went, I was young. I'm like, oh yeah, right. Who's going to kill me? And that was before the headbanger. Yeah. Now they kill you on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You have been attacked, Larry. You have been attacked so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I've had my family attacked. I've even when my mother died, I had people saying, well, this little cadre of, I think, very controlled, useful idiots, and it's on high using, and it trickles down, saying, loving that when my mother died, all kind of things. And what kind of human being is like that, And these people, I'd rather protect them. It's shocking. It's shocking, it's stunning, and and it's at great distance. But with the social media, all kind of lies can prevail and do damage, by the way. And my co-author, I'm not going to go heavy here. It's KGRA at all. Yeah. They I don't want to get blocked there too, but right race. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. But at the end of the day, he put out a manifesto based on what they call trolls. I actually know the people. And the real reason my co-author and I split up, and this is just the truth, we were speaking in Scotland and someone made threats to me. And I to the speakers, I guess, and I just made a statement saying, "You'll go through me. I'll get to you before security does if you attack me or my family." It's just a matter of fact, right? So I got banned from the University of Glasgow, which I thought was kind of cool, actually, like many groups. I'm like, oh, but I went up there and still made them buy me a hotel room and all that. So in my family, you. But of course, and they got real mad at that. This fake priestess or whatever she's become. Scotland's a little loony on this stuff, but I like the locks and all that. But then it was Peter was there, and he did my talk and for me, or my part of it. And then the next day, I was trying to communicate to him over breakfast, but he had a hearing aid and pretended it wasn't on. And I kept saying, "Listen, we got ripped off on the first." I'm sorry, why I laugh. I said, we got robbed on the first edition of the book by Publishers Group West out of California. Many tentacles, many debts. And we had a second edition by a little guy, a Dutch man in New York called, I forget his name. And he put out the second edition of Left at Eastgate, the copy you show. And I said, Peter, I haven't gotten the subject. There it is. And I go, Pete, I haven't gotten it. This is the real reason we fell out. Let's just blow some water here. We worked together 30 years, just because there'll be people listening and they've heard, oh, I'm lying and all this. And I said to Peter, I go, I haven't gotten paid. And I said, I'm afraid of like the last publisher. And the hearing aids started malfunctioning. And so the next day he wrote this book called Halt and Woodbridge, which he absolutely dismantled Colonel Halt's view on me and on the incidents. Brilliant job. The next day, he couldn't get rid of the case. And do you want to take this case? I'm like, geez, don't you need it? No, we want to get rid of it. I said, I'm going to ask for an audit with the publisher and he's doing this with the hearing aid. Within 2 weeks, his manifesto came out, all based on things he knows isn't true. It came from these trolls over here. They'll take truth and then they'll create this amazingly clever. Yeah, I made Charles Manson look like an altar boy. Truly. Seriously. It's almost funny now, but it really did cost me. People are cowards and they're like,
don't you think
just in case it's true, and I was amazed how many people bailed, that I knew. Yeah. Because people want to be, just in case I don't want to be, and obviously it's all been disproven and totally.
Yes.
But this happens. Look at Travis Walton.
Yeah, it happened to Travis Walton, and they actually offered to bribe some of the people, give them money, because they knew that these guys needed money. So they offered to pay them off to recount the story, say that it never happened. But I think there's a lot of payment going across the internet for doing things like this. So it's like, hey, you want to make some money? Go after this guy. And this is the script we want you to follow.
Oh, These people need money.
I'm sure.
Like that.
There's one real quick point, Patricia, you just brought up, because my dear co-author, little Peter, and I wish no ill on him, but he's almost 78. He looks like Paul Simon more and more every day, but I'm not going to go into him because he's had his share on me, and I have class. And, he was like a brother to me. That was the worst kind of wake-up call I've ever had that I know of. I'm no saint. I drove him crazy. I call him when I was on the pith and all that, which I'm good now. But he didn't have to do what he did. However, my lawyer in the States at one time did a pre-read of Left at Eastgate before it was published. And he said, did you see this part where Peter, and I'd forgotten, he says, and all I can say is if anyone ever put the word into me to walk from this project, I'd be the first one down the road. And I'm like, oh my God. And that always made me uneasy, and he proved it. But away from him, I wish him well, and I'm not going to live in the hate game. I don't hate. But within 2 weeks, he was pushing for the book to be pulled. I'm the principal author. I pulled it because we couldn't work together. And the publisher saying, we disproved all of Peter's manifesto. It was untenable to have the book because it was both of us, right? And so at the end of the day, what I did is I signed off, pull it, and I found out my royalties were going to my co-author all along.
Oh no!
So, and that's from the publisher. So there's so many myths, and listen, if he needed it, good for him. It was bad. But within a month of that, my dear beloved Paul Simon was out in some conference somewhere out west, selling and signing Left at Eastgate, the book he'd crapped on from a great height just 2 months before. We have pictures, but that's the past. That's the past. And I have people saying, will you do it again? And I go, it's like going back to high school. I couldn't do that. The book, I would never do that book again because I was settling scores from high school in it. I was in my 20s. I was, how ridiculous, And it's true what I wrote, but I'm a far better writer now. And more to the point, and you shouldn't put your families in your books, folks, or your friends, because they're innocent parties. You're opening them up to be targets, especially in this medium. So that's a little advice there. Do you want to hear? Is Bob still? Do you want to hear the end of my night? What happened?
Yes, please. We still have a little bit.
Short show.
Go ahead.
How much time do we have? Just give me a time check.
Chanel, we've got another 8-9 minutes, something like that.
Okay, real quick. Long story short, kids. The false narrative you see on TV is, they focus on time travel and this and that. No one knows what this was. I personally think it's interdimensional things. That's my opinion. I don't know. I don't think it's from Planet X and all that. And I don't think it's us in the future. That's a nice little bow on a very complex thing. It involved many people. And there's probably 4 nights of the event. Steve LaPlume and Airman Palmer were probably abducted on what would be the first 3 nights together. The 4th night, a few nights later in January. So it's a very complex thing. There were federal interdiction after it with narcotics like crash carts and all that kind of thing. So I saw there was teeth with the government I was serving. Others did too. And it was not meant to come out. They didn't know this thing just came out of a bag. But I did see I love the new thing, the non-human statement, because I don't say alien. I've never said I've seen aliens. I saw something that was not human. And I saw something that wasn't built in Detroit yet. It was morphing, and many others did too. And it was all filmed and photographed. And a good thing to see is go back to the CNN 1985 special assignment, back before it was poisoned, and you'll see many witnesses have never spoken again. They're all in shadows, except for me. And I remember my dad on his back porch going, "Don't let him film the goddamn house." And he said, "Damn," but yeah, that's him.
Well, you have
he's in heaven.
Coming out. You've got a new movie coming out now, right?
I have a movie. Yeah, it's a movie by Dion Johnson. It's called Capel Green. It's been in production. By fate, another one like Bob and Betty, I met little Dion, and he's from Australia. He's a lovely guy. And he was filming his daughter in Rendlesham Forest. And a friend of mine, Tino, dragged me to the forest to camp out, which I hate camping, but I did it. And it was like Stalag 17, this campsite. They're like lights at 10, silence and all this. They're out of business now, thank God. Don't camp there. But and we went to, I ran into this guy. We had a strange thing in the forest. I was taking people around the forest. People charge people for tours there. I've taken hundreds around for free, right? Oh. I gotta wake up me, I'll tell you. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't monetize what happened to me, I couldn't do it. Now the film is by Dion. It's called Capel Green, is the name of the field where the big contact took place. And most of the activity did not happen in Rendlesham Forest. It happened in the fields, open. It was filmed, photographed, and the film was a little thing about me, and it was in the middle of all my trolling and all those fun days, and it grew, and it grew and grew. We have Academy Award winning cameramen on this that worked on James Bond, everything. And they did it gratis, you see,
Oh,
and then more
Right.
witnesses.
gift. Yeah.
We invited the director and crew it's a small crew. It's all self-financed. We kept the showbiz folk out of it. We kept the UFO documentary people out of it because the false narrative was always pushed. The lighthouses are always pushed. They say it was a lighthouse, right? And that beam never even went inland since the 1800s. So there you go. But at the end of the day, the film has grown. I was on the phone with the director tonight. It's been a long time. People are impatient with it, but it's not Universal Studios doing it. James Fox's films take a long time also. It's just he's more prolific at getting them out now, And there's nothing like this. You'll read on IMDb, it's about me. Well, I'm a part of it, but not much, and not what it projects. And it's a real human story.
Mm-hmm.
The science in the movie will flatten people. I hate math even, but I've heard it again, and I'm like, wow. And we have very heavy guns in this film, and then we have witnesses that have never had a chance to voice their experiences. And we have world-class special effects people that have made these events come alive in the exact locations where they took place. Not just
amazing.
And I talk it up. The trailers on YouTube are very outdated. I think the mistake we all make is that we start publicizing the film way too early. And so people get frustrated, but it just got massive. And there's been hitches here and there and ego thing, not with me. I did my work for it. And I can tell you this, I can't tell you a lot. I haven't seen all of it. I'll be seeing a lot of it in a month or so. It's a very complex thing. And the director is meticulous. Factually, it has to be, because it's all legally checked. It's a British Film Institute backed film. It literally is a BFI film, and it's not this YouTube video people think it is. And it will blow people away. You'll laugh, you'll cry, it's something.
Have an estimate a time when it's going to be available?
I'm talking tonight. You see, it has to go to distributors. It has legal reviews, obviously, because it's filmed. It has been filmed in America here and all over. And it goes to legal review. It goes to distributors, which are in London and Los Angeles. And I won't say who they are. And frankly, I don't know who they are. And then they do all that in where it comes out, and they control that. But we're getting to the finish line. It's an end of post-production. And he is so meticulous. It has to be right, because obviously people are going to knock it. But I'll say one thing that's the cat got out of the bag. Gary Hazeltine is someone you should have on your program at some time. He's a British detective, retired. He has published a book. He was involved in the film. He moved on in his own direction. He's part of another organization, something. And he wrote a book called Non-Human about Rendlesham Forest, 42 Years of Denial, featuring, and it's on Amazon, folks. I'll plug Gary's book. I don't know how much it is in Yankee dollars, but it's... you'll be quite shocked. I have some issues with it, but not big ones. And it's also another one that upsets the pushers of the false narrative. And you people have been lied to by not the government. They don't have to do a thing. You've been lied to by a lot of stellar names you see on TV all too often.
That's true.
And I think most people know it. But when this film comes out, there's going to be a lot of people there's going to be folks that, they can, I don't know if women throw underwear at Nick Pope and all, but he better save him, I mean, like Tom Jones, but he ain't Tom Jones, I can tell you. But it's not going to be nice for them, but that's their problem. And
we're excited to see it. So we want
Definitely.
to, please.
Well, I'll make sure you guys are in the loop on all that.
Please.
And you'll get the action figures and all. But really, I wanted to. There's some people in it that are now deceased because it's taken a while, and I'm just hoping I'm not one of them at the end.
No, you got
well, definitely not.
Still young.
But it will be. There's nothing like it at all. But I was one of the disclosure witnesses in 2002 at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. And I will say this. All this hype with the UAP, the virtue signaling word that the general public don't know. I call it federal bootlicking. by all the tough guys in ufology, and there ain't many of them. And I'm sick of virtue signaling and this thing. It's UFO. Let's stick with what we know. And when I said at the National Press Club that I was with 20 other military people, that I would raise my hand in front of Congress and testify to the truth of what I say, I meant it, and I'd do it tomorrow. But have I been asked? Hell no. But I will say this. I have passed 6 law enforcement level voice stress analysis, and I have passed a top tier polygraph that by the #1 examiner in the UK who does special forces, government, you name it. She had no dog in the fight and did it gratis. They cost about $4,000. And I passed it. That's all in the film. You'll see it from beginning to end. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I passed it. And it's not about that, because then you have the people that say, well, polygraphs, you know how they are. Well, you can't beat them now. In fact, the examiner, Patricia, who was from New York originally, she said, have you studied any ways to counteract the polygraph? And I said, are there? But it was too late. I was in her living. No, you can't beat them. And I passed it, and I knew I would. I've always wanted to do one, but I'll tell you, it scared the hell out of me once I sat down, got wired up, because everything was on the line. And that's what made the movie go forward, because obviously you're not going to work with a liar, you know. That'd be an awkward movie to do. And so all these things, and I will say I am the only witness that listen, the people in the film are trustworthy. I knew them. I know what they went through. There are some people out there around the Rendlesham thing, including you, Nick Pope, if there is an agenda afoot, and I know how you do on that one, but they have been asked gratis to do this polygraph, top tier, and they have all refused. And that's a fact.
That says a lot.
So I don't know what that means to you, but it means something.
Oh, it certainly does. Yes.
But it's a very toxic thing, and the film is not toxic. It's not out to hurt anyone. It's just out to disseminate, to the best of any human ability, something that's never been done. And that's for every witness out there in every case, experience, not cases. And I thank Bob dearly for your support.
Oh, gosh, Bob is the group.
Well, Larry, best of luck to you in the future, pal.
I hope we get together one day, my brother, before we're flying around there, you know.
The name of the movie is being requested
I look forward to it.
And the name of the movie is being requested again. Capel Green, you said is the name.
Capel Green.
Okay.
The truth of there's a subtitle, I forget, but there are trailers on YouTube, but they are very outdated. So there'll be new trailers.
We've got to unfortunately wrap up, Larry. This has been wonderful having you here. Wonderful, Bob, having you join us. So I just want to mention again, Left at East Gate is the name of the book. You may be able to get it, even though it's out of print. And also, Bob has 2 books, The Andreasen Affair and Lifting of the Veil. Both of those books are still available. And Larry Fawcett, you mentioned him. He had a book out called Clear Intent. He was also part of this group. So anyways, thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Thank you both, and Bob, thank you so much, really.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you, Larry. Bye-bye.
Okay, Bob.
Okay. Take care.
We'll be back next week with another great show.
Much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.